Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace. Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. And I did not put up my overlay. Look at me. I'm late and I'm slipping. Here we go. All right. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. Make sure if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all y'all in here. And I'm starting to see a trend here. I have like regulars. And that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Yes, sir. I'm from South Carolina. Also, let's get it. I'm not from South Carolina. Is somebody else in here from South Carolina? Here we go. I appreciate everybody in here. You already know what time it is. We got to come in here and get those flames going, man. How you feeling this morning? We got, 5 flames if you're feeling real good. 1 flame. We don't want to see no 1 flames. I will say I'm a little down. San Francisco Giants lost. That was tough. So now it's like, man, got the Dodgers. This is it. It's basically a 1-game playoff now. It's even. Win or go home. It's like a wild card football game now. It's tough. That's tough. Wish the Giants would have won, but I'm pretty sure got Webb on the mound tonight. So I'm feeling good about that. Hope everybody's having a good morning. We got some cool little topics today, and then I'm going to let you guys kind of have the floor. JT O'Sullivan's breakdown on Trey Lance. We're going to get into that. Deebo Samuel versus Brandon Aiyuk, and we're going to kind of talk about what's going on with Aiyuk. I listened to KBR and heard John Lynch and his comments on our guy, Brandon Aiyuk. Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead, they are quietly having a terrific season. It's kind of being overshadowed. So we want to get into that. All right. But again, before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. BLA. I feel you, Rich. I feel you. Got some folks from Scotland in here. Let's go. Scotland, a couple people from South Carolina, huh? Columbia. Let's go. And y'all know where I'm from, man. North side of Stockton. Let's go. 209. Do I got some 209ers in here? Any 209ers in here? I'm representing today. Really every day. I carry myself like, real Stockton guy. You feel me? 415 native. Okay. Bay Area, San Francisco, Frisco. 843 Philly. Okay, y'all from Pennsylvania. Y'all from all over, man. That's what's up, man. I appreciate all y'all. Real quick, I wanted to announce I am doing a gift giveaway. All right. I should have made it to where I could share the screen and show the gift giveaway. But all you're gonna have to do, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but maybe post it to Twitter. But you gotta like the most recent video, be subscribed, and follow my other social media platforms. And you will be manually entered to win this giveaway. So, yes, sir. I hope you guys enjoy what it is. It's a nice little gift basket. I'll post it to Twitter. If you guys don't follow me already, at Eric_Crocker on Twitter. Follow me there. I'll be posting all the details to how to win it. And if you win, I'll mail it out. Here we go. I'm from San Jose, but was born in Fresno. I lived in San Jose a good amount growing up. My mom, my family, they all from San Jose, east side over by Tully, White Road, Eastridge Mall. So I lived there a number of years. I actually went to not Quimby Oak. My brother went to Quimby Oak Middle School, and my brother went to Mount Pleasant. Cedar Grove. I went to Cedar Grove. So yeah, I went to Cedar Grove Elementary out there in San Jose. But I'm from Stockton, but I lived in San Jose. My grandparents, I moved back there. Anytime I got in any type of trouble as an adult, I'd go stay with grandparents in San Jose. So, and when I say adult, I'm talking about have I told any of y'all my story? Let's talk about it real quick. All right, we're gonna get into the topics again. JT O'Sullivan breakdown. He had an interesting take on Trey Lance's release. I asked him about that. All right. Again, we're going to talk about Deebo Samuel versus Brandon Aiyuk, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead not getting enough love. And then, of course, I'll give you guys the floor. But let's talk about my story a little bit because I think I'm a little bit more like y'all than y'all think. But got Stag High graduate, most people, obviously, I made it to play professional football, and had a couple T in the NFL. That was awesome, being able to sign an NFL contract, be with the Jets during that time. Uh, my path was hella different than anybody else's. I'm pretty sure of this. All right, so grew up in Stockton, California. I know I got a lot of people in Stockton in here. I see Darius right here, Stag High graduate. All right, grew up in Stockton, and I think it's tough. I don't think we truly understand or kind of growing up without like your dad, how tough that can kind of be on us, and kind of understand what it means to kind of be a man, and like who's going to hold us accountable. And I think my mom, she did as much as she could, being a single mom raising 3 kids. And so I always love football. I'm passionate about it. You guys see me talking about football now, watching film on football. This is not something that just started. Everybody asked me about like getting into podcasting and things like that. Like I knew that's what I always wanted to do. I actually thought that's what I would do even more than ever playing football. Right. Growing up, like I liked Stuart Scott. Like I watched Stuart Scott on ESPN, and I'm like, damn, like I want to be like Stuart Scott. You know what I'm saying? I used to, I mean, as far back as I can remember, going back to the 4th grade, I used to pop the VHS tapes in the VCR, and every Sunday I would record the 49er games, and I would watch those games throughout the week. All right. So I would record it and I just watch it back and watch it back. And I couldn't tell you why I did it, but I just loved football so much, and playing in the street with me and my brother and stuff. But we didn't have a lot of money, so I was never really able to play a whole lot of organized sports. I played 1 year of Pop Warner, 1 year, and I was like the third string running back. All right. It wasn't until I got to high school that I really started to, play more organized sports. But I was undersized. Like when I got to be a freshman or whatever, I was only 5'5". I was 5'5" as a freshman, skinny dude, 5'7" as a sophomore, and then I grew from 5'7" to 6'1" as heading into my junior year. But I struggled academically, so I was ineligible for 5 games my junior year. I was ineligible for 5 games my senior year. So there are a lot of people from Stockton that are like, "What? Eric Crocker? Like this guy made it to the NFL." Now people know, but for a while, even while I was in the NFL, people didn't even know like that. Oh, this dude's from Stockton, because I didn't have the level of success that most people have coming out of high school. Right? Most of these guys that make it to the league coming from high school is like, oh, like they knew, like, oh, this dude was. He was dope the whole time. He was good the whole time. He was a standout all the way up from Pop Warner to whatever college, all that. Wasn't the case for me. Was never a guy in the, matter of fact, I only scored one high school touchdown, something like that. But I was never a guy, and I never had that same level of success as a lot of other people had. And the academic part, I was just kind of coasting. If you grow up in a house where you don't have your dad, who is supposed to show you what it means to kind of be a man? So I ended up having, or I only want to jump to when I had my son, but at the age of 18, I ended up going to junior college, and I played my freshman year and I did well. And I even flunked out of that. So at 18, I had, by this time, by the end of my freshman year of college, junior college at Delta, I was ineligible 5 games my junior year of high school, ineligible 5 games my senior year of high school, and then flunked out again at junior college. So like I just said, I ended up trying to get back on track, moving to the 408, going back to my grandparents' house. I worked a bunch of different jobs. I had a kid at a young age, 18, 19 years old, having my son. Moved back to my grandparents, trying to get back on track. Did a bunch of different jobs. I'm talking about warehousing, working at Walmart, working at Target, Babies R Us. I mean, you name it. I probably did it. My best friend, who's typically with me, if you guys saw me in Philadelphia, he was with me. But my best friend, we started like doing crazy stuff, and we would like rob stores and stuff, just trying to figure, whatever. Not something like, I'm proud of, but it was just, that's just where I was at this time of my life. And we're talking about 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, doing crazy stuff. Till my best friend ended up going to jail and did 2 years. And when he got out of jail, and this is at the time, we're 21 years old now. I'm 21 at this time. When my best friend got out of jail, he was like, man, we need to be playing football or something. And I'm thinking like, man, it's too late. Like we're 21 years old. We're supposed to go back to junior college now. He was like, yeah, man, like let's do it. So we ended up going back to junior college at Modesto Junior College. So we see my Pirates chair right here. So we ended up going to Modesto Junior College, and from there, I did better. Right, I'm starting to get back on track, but my grades were so terrible from the first junior college. Over the summer, they were like, "Man, you're gonna have to get straight A's, or you're not gonna be able to play." So I had to take like 7 classes and get A's in every class, and I did it. All right, they helped me. They helped me. But at 21 years old, going back to junior college to play my sophomore year of college, and I ended up balling out, got all conference, all that stuff, but my time clock was messed up. So I couldn't go to a division one. I had some D1s that looked at me and it was like, 6'2", lengthy corner. Like people were like, oh yeah, definitely interested in this guy, but didn't have the grades and didn't have the time clock. So I ended up going to a Division II school in Arkansas, which I'm in Arkansas back now. But went there, hated Arkansas my junior year. Like I hated everything about being in Arkansas, especially being from Stockton and California. This, as a matter of fact, at this time, because I'm 22 years old now, 22 years old, leaving California for the first time in my entire life, 22 years old, and I go to Arkansas, and it's like, what is this? And hated it my junior year. Everything about it was different. I didn't like anything about it. I didn't like the way people talk. I didn't like the women. I didn't like anything about it. And from there, I ended up having an up and down junior year. Senior year, awesome. Ended up being all conference and everything. My cousin, who I stayed with for a little bit when I was 19 years old, we actually shared a one bedroom until he went off to the NFL. He went to go play with San Diego Chargers at this time with LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, and all those guys. I'll bring them on the show at some point. We were sharing a room at this time, but later, after my senior year in college, and then by this time I'm 23, 24 years old. He's like, hey, Croc, like if you somehow he ended up being director of player personnel in the Arena Football League. All right, it's crazy how all this works, and I'm kind of skimming over things, but director of player personnel in the Arena Football League, and he was like, "Man, if you want an opportunity to play after college, I can give you an opportunity. I can't guarantee you anything, but I can give you a shot to play in the Arena Football League." And even then, I'm thinking like indoor league, IFL, or something. I'm not even thinking it's the highest Arena League level. And sure enough, I take that opportunity. I had a bunch of buddies that had the same opportunity because I would say, hey, my cousin is director player personnel. If you want a shot, like, come on, he's going to give us all tryouts. They didn't want to take it. They tried to do some other stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm going straight there. I ain't doing no pro day. I ain't doing any of that. I'm just going straight to the Arena League. And I went, ended up balling, started all 19 games as a rookie, did my thing. One of my buddies, Jerry Brown, you guys might remember. Some of you guys might remember. He was a teammate of mine. He passed away. He ended up moving on to the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, went to the Colts first, in the Cowboys. But he got in an accident. If you guys remember 2012, the Cowboys defensive lineman. One of the guys was drunk. The car flipped and burned. The guy that was drunk and driving got out. My buddy didn't make it out. He ended up burning, and he passed away. JB, that was when he was the Cowboys. But he had messaged me during that time and was like, hey, when he first got to the Colts, he was like, hey, the Colts are interested in you. Now, you got to remember my path. I was never really the guy. Talking about high school, Pup Warner, only played 1 year, 6th grade. High school, ineligible most of the time and undersized for a lot of it. Junior college, flunked out, 19. Went back at 22. Some, 1AA schools like me. But I was never like a guy like that. And even in college, like I had a good senior year. But to start, an NFL team, like what? They like me? So he was like, man, just keep doing your thing. I still got those messages, man. RP to my dog, Jerry Brown. So I end up at one point in my rookie year, and I said I started all 19 games, but I actually got pulled over for a DUI and I got arrested. And I didn't even understand how that would impact me going forward, but it almost screwed everything up. I ended up in the offseason, I hired an agent. The agent was basically not doing anything for me. I mean, just telling me what he can and can't do and crawl before you walk, wasn't giving me any opportunity. So I fired him, got with another agent. And it's crazy how this works, man. I got with this other agent and immediately, as soon as I signed with him, within 2 hours, I had got calls from 10 NFL teams that liked my film. I mean, Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, the Packers, the Colts, New Orleans Saints, uh, Jets. Like, I mean, it was crazy. I had never been highly like sought after. So for all these NFL teams to know me, and I'm thinking like, man, I'm just trying to get to the CFL. Never thought I would, the NFL would come calling. I had a workout with the New Orleans Saints. So you guys remember 2000? This is 2013 now. I don't know if you guys remember what was happening early February 2013 in New Orleans. I had a workout with the New Orleans Saints. And it's at the same time the San Francisco 49ers are in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. So I went and I took pictures. I've always been a big 49er fan. If you kind of see my path and how it went, there was a lot of time for me to really kind of continue to kind of build up that love. And so I was a little starstruck being in there. I ate breakfast in the same place where Harbaugh and Kaepernick and all these guys were. I took pictures of their lockers and stuff. Crabtree, Goldson. I was a big Goldson fan. I had my workout. I didn't run a fast enough 40 time for the Saints, so they were like, "We'll bring you to rookie minicamp and give you a shot, but can't give you a contract." Ended up flying back. Had to go work out for the Philadelphia Eagles with Chip Kelly. So it was Chip Kelly, and they had about 70 front office media members. And Chip Kelly, I mean, just everybody there. John Middlecoff was there. He was still on staff at this time, so I'm pretty sure John Middlecoff watched me work out. But they were like, "Oh no, you're too out of shape." And at this time, I mean, being in shape or whatever, like I was on probation from getting arrested. I uh, wasn't even supposed to leave the state or the county to go to these workouts, but I'm like, I'm not missing these NFL workouts. I never had this opportunity before, so I'm getting on flights. I wasn't supposed to leave. Uh, and yeah, so I had to work out with the Eagles. They were like, didn't run. You were too out of shape. And at this time, I'm working in Macy's. All right, off season. First of all, Arena League. I didn't get paid a whole lot when I first got into the Arena League. So off season, I had to get a job. I'm on probation. I can't leave the county. I'm working at Macy's for like $7.25 an hour, $7.50 an hour. And like, when do I work out? Because I have to work 8 hours to be able to pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? So I was out of shape going to work out for Philadelphia Eagles. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to thug it out. I'm taking time away from the Macy's or whatever. And the New York Jets called, and they were like, they wanted to bring me in 2 weeks to work me out. Then after that, I had the Colts, then the Packers. So the Jets, I trained hard, worked out for 2 weeks to get in the best shape that I could get into, and had a good workout. Had a good workout that I thought. But when I got done, they're like, "All right, we've seen enough." Tim McDonald, 49er fans in here, you guys know Tim McDonald was one of the guys that put on my workout. Rex Ryan was in there. Rex Ryan's like, "Man, what's the thing? What's the case with this guy?" And I heard somebody like, "Oh, he's a arena guy working out." But Tim McDonald put on my workout. Him, Dennis Thurman, Smitty, and they're like, "All right, we've seen enough. That's good." I'm like, "Nah, man, I ain't leaving. Like, I'm not leaving New York without a contract." They're like, "We've seen enough. What you need to do is get in better shape." So I'm like, "Damn, they're not signing me." So I went, put my stuff on, like, damn, take a shower. They fed us. And they're like, "Hey, we got to take you guys to go get physicals." And one of the guys was like, "Man, I've seen this before." He's like, "I've been through this. Sometimes they want to get physicals just to see where you're at and eventually maybe bring you back." I wasn't even supposed to go to this workout. I had court that morning. So I wasn't even supposed to fly to New York. I had to go to court for my thing that I got arrested for. And I actually told the New York Jets, "Can you guys push my flight back because I had to go to a funeral?" That was what I told them. Like, I got to go to a funeral. I really had to go to court. I had to get permission to leave the state to actually be able to go to my workout in New York. So the guy told us, like, "Hey man, they usually do this. They usually, once you want to get a physical on you just to make sure that you're good, because eventually they might bring you back." So it's a long physical, man. I'm talking about 3 hours. I'm like, man, I'm sure I'm gonna miss my flight back to Texas. And next thing you know, I get a message from my agent, and my agent's like, "Don't fail the test. Don't fail the test. Don't fail the physical. If you fail, they're not gonna sign you. If you pass, they're gonna sign you." And I was like, "Man, they're signing me." He was like, "If you pass your physical, the Jets are signing you." So ended up passing the physical. And I remember going upstairs to to sign my contract, and I just cried. Like I just cried because of everything that I had gone through. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things that were self-inflicted, bad decisions. I think the bigger issue with me while I was young was I just didn't have guidance. So I just did a lot of things of trying to figure it out, trial and error. And I still live like that now in the sense of, streaming, podcasting, my business that I'm building, my gym that's being built right now. Everything with me has been trial and error and trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and having to figure it out because I did not have the guidance. Even now on the business side of things, I don't have the guidance. I just listen. You know where I get business advice from? I listen to John Middlecoff's Three and Out, and I hear him talk about business. And a lot of times that's where I get business advice from. I started listening to a guy, Andy Frisella, listening to his podcast about, and it's really for entrepreneurs um, and people kind of with my mindset. But I listen to Andy Frisella, and that's where I get a lot of my like business mindset and ideas and things. And I think one thing about me and that I've learned about myself is I'm relentless. I'm gonna figure it out, and I don't know if that came from how I grew up or my path and how I had to do things and whatnot. But there's been a lot of give and take, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of whatever. And I think like I am you, right? I'm all of you. I think we all go through these things, and at the end of the day, we just got to figure it out. And I think with everything that I'm doing right now, I figured it out. It started to click. But even then, there's just so much more for me to learn, and there's so much growth left. And I really feel like at the age of 34, I'm just hitting my stride. But I'm thankful for all the opportunities that I had. My opportunities in the NFL to meet so many great people that really mess with me. The Arena League, like all that, like it was amazing. Even going back to the Arena League, I learned more this year winning the championship. And I show you guys my ring sometimes, my ring that I won in the Arena League. But I learned more winning in that season about myself and about what it means to be a champion and how to approach things. I learned more with that than anything else in my life. Like just going through that, like feeling like, man, like y'all change up all this. Like I just had 11 interceptions the year before. Y'all changing up all my technique. Man, y'all on me. Like, do y'all even want me? Like I learned so much about holding yourself accountable, what it meant, like how to win, the discipline that you have to have, the self-discipline, uh, being uncomfortable. I learned so much about life just from that season, probably more than I ever did like in before. So I don't even know how I got on this tangent. I started talking about, where I was from and stuff like that. But hopefully, and I'm not on here to like, motivate you guys or anything. We're supposed to be talking 49er football. But I'm just like y'all. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced a lot of ups and downs and some really high moments and low moments. And I'm appreciative for everything that I've gone through. I have beautiful kids. uh I ain't do everything right, but again, trial and error. So yeah, man, if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm an open book. I could tell y'all about all my, I feel like, and I listen to Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle is one of my favorite musicians ever. And one thing he said was, if you share your success and not your failures, you're a fool. So I always try to share like my failures. I share them with the kids that I train. The people that I try to mentor. Uh, social media. I've talked about it. People ask, man, why'd you get released from the Jets? Like, man, I wasn't good enough on special teams. Like that's real. I could cover, wasn't good enough on special teams. Um, I share all my successes. I mean, my failures and my success. I mean, to me, it's like, what is success? I don't feel like I'm there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like for what people probably, success, like in my eyes, like what that means, I'm not there yet. I've done a lot of good things, cool things, but not even close to where I want to be. So my failures help me and they continue to push me. But I appreciate everybody for kind of listening. 25 minutes of me ramble on about the things that I've gone through and whatnot. But we're about to get into the 49ers. Here we go. Why are you still not playing? Well, one, I'm 34 years old. I appreciate the contribution. One, I'm 34. But I actually stopped playing after this season because my son was getting older. Now, this is the aspect of football that maybe some people, and it's part of it's because of how I did things. Again, trial and error, did some things the wrong way. But I had a son at a very young age. So, we're talking about 19 years old, I'm having a kid. And, then eventually I go off to college. Well, I go off to college, like I'm not with his mom, so I'm away from my son for 2 years. Obviously, I come home, breaks, summers. He came out to Arkansas, when I was in college and whatnot. But, okay, damn, I'm away from my son those 2 years. And he was 2 years old when I left, 4 or 5 when I come back. Oh, dang, I got to go play in San Antonio. I'm away from him again. Again, he would come to San Antonio sometimes, but wasn't with him consistently. Okay, dang, after San Antonio, damn, I'm in New Jersey with the Jets. Oh, then I'm in Portland, Oregon. And then, and by the time, 2015 rolls around, it's like, damn, my son turning 9 years old, and I've missed so much time. And I just said, I won the championship, and I was like, man, it was good making money with the SaberCats, traveling every weekend, having fun. But at this age, 28 years old, I felt like it was more important for me to be around for my son and having another daughter, and having a daughter at that time. And I was just like, that's it. Like, I'm done. And I just walked away. I'm pretty sure I had another good 3 years playing in the Arena League. Arena League, San Jose paid me very well. Some of the other organizations maybe would not have paid me as much. So that too, it maybe wouldn't have been as worth it for me to be away, and I don't even know if you could put a number on, being away from your kids and stuff like that and really missing out on a lot of valuable time. So why are you still not playing? That's why I stepped away when I did. Appreciate the contribution. Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody that listened to my journey. And there are a lot of other people that have stories similar to mine. 1 second, got a message. There are a lot of other people that have journeys similar where things don't work out, and then it's like, well, what do you do now? You know what I'm saying? And now that's the tough part. You spend your whole life, I don't want to say chasing something, but being an athlete and things, and then you get done playing at the age of 28, and it's like, all right, what do I do now? And even then, I had to figure it out. I had to figure out, like, damn, okay, E, what now? The last however many years has been all about football. Okay, well, let me just talk about football on Twitter. And that's how it happened. That's how it happened. That's how all this stuff started happening. Now, even with my podcasting stuff, uh, I tell people, because now I'm able to support my family off of podcasting. And my wife, she's finishing up nursing school right now. Like, she can't work, so I pay all the bills, and I do it off of podcasting. And I tell people, because there are a lot of people that want to get into podcasting and stuff like that. And again, I'm not where I want to be. My goal was by December to make 10,000 a month off of streaming or podcasting. 10,000 a month off streaming podcasting. That was my goal. So I'm close to it. All right. But so I always set these goals, and then I try to figure out different ways to kind of reach that goal. Right now, it's just by December, can you get to 10,000? Looks like I'm going to be able to do that. But when I first got into this, it was never about the money. Talking football, talking to y'all, doing all this was just something that I enjoyed, right? I loved just talking football, meeting people, networking, just giving my perspective on things. It was never about the money. Training athletes, I do that. Like, it was never about the money with training athletes. It was about the impact on some of these kids' lives and be a sense of guidance that I didn't have. I would do those things for free. So for podcasting and training, a lot of times training, I made money, but podcasting and stuff or talking football, I did that. I mean, from 2016, pretty much when I stopped playing, from that to, and I didn't really start really making money until now. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really start making money till now, like legit money. I was making money. So we see how big Blue Wire is now, right? Blue Wire is big now. When I first got with Blue Wire, it was not what it is today. I think my first podcast I had there, if you guys remember way back, I had this podcast called the Press Coverage Podcast. And I think I made $30 a month $40 a month from Blue Wire. Blue Wire was not what it is, what it was then. It wasn't what it is today. And I think even looking at Kevin Jones and how he's done the big inspiration and hearing his story on how he got Blue Wire up and going and what it is today, amazing. That was not what it is. That's not what it was before. All right. So I see y'all. We're about to start getting into the 49ers talk, but if you are thinking about podcasting and things like that, there was a couple of things that I noticed. One, it can't be about the money. Eventually that will come if people appreciate your work, or you just do it because it's something you love to do and you just want people to hear you talk, which is basically what I do. Two, you got to be consistent, and I think with anything in life, especially business and stuff like that, you have the most fun doing it and you enjoy it more if it's something that you would be willing to do for free. And talking to you guys, something I do for free. Podcasting, something I do for free. Training athletes, I do it for free. I've just figured out a way to go all in and, be able to support my family off of it. So appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for listening again. So here we go, man. We're going to get into the show, man. Enough of me talking about my life. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. All right. All that good stuff. This show, as always, is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. All right. Make sure if you haven't already, download the Underdog Fantasy app. Promo code Crocky, CROCKY. Use that. You're going to throw an additional $10 into your account. All right. All kind of cool stuff. Player props, different wagers and things they have, over-unders on player stats. You can put money down on that, parlay it, make you some money. All right. So Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Download right now, man. You won't regret it. I promise you. Here we go. You were telling your story about the bunny. That was scary. The bunny, man. I just put the bunny outside just now. All right, let's talk about it, man. JT O'Sullivan. Again, we're going to get into the 49er topics. We got JT O'Sullivan's breakdown of Trey Lance. We got Deebo Samuel versus Aiyuk and kind of that dynamic and what's going on there. Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead. All right, we're going to talk about that. I feel like they're a little underappreciated, but JT O'Sullivan. I value JT O'Sullivan's opinion on quarterback play more than anything. I think we all have our opinions. Again, we all can have our opinions. I have my opinion. You guys have your opinion on quarterback play or whatever it is. But JT O'Sullivan, the way that he breaks down the film, it's not about a narrative that he wants to push. I have seen him sometimes push back on narratives, which I've done that as well with like a Jamar Chase, where everybody said, oh, generational talent, all this, and I'm like, well, what about this part, right? And then not to say I don't think that's person good, but, just a little pushback on the narrative. So I've seen JT O'Sullivan push back on certain narratives about players, but when it comes to just how he breaks down the film and what it looks like, nobody better. There is nobody better than JT O'Sullivan, which how he does that, how he explains the concepts, the reads, where he thinks the ball should go, and the way that he does it to where we can all understand it. The QB school. If you guys don't watch, he has a great breakdown on Trey Lance on the QB school. And he talked about, and we're going to get to the release because I actually DM'd him and asked him about Trey Lance's release. So we'll get to that. But he's breaking down the film, and a lot of what he's showing, and you guys that have watched it, you guys will see the growth that needs to happen with Trey Lance. And some of it isn't even so much that he can't do it. It's just first game has to see the field better, which I think that's what we would expect, right? I think most of us go into that game, and especially if you guys listened to me last week, it's like, look, we're going to see some good, we're going to see some bad. All right. You're going to see some high-level stuff. You're going to see some stuff that you are like, oh, man, that was terrible. I don't think there was anything too terrible, which was good because I wasn't expecting that. But I think you saw a lot of things that he needs to improve on in his development. Now, this is one thing I would say about the breakdown, which was terrific. And I think, where is it? It was a decent breakdown. It showed that Trey is seeing his reads. Yeah, it shows he's seeing his reads correctly, just not pulling the trigger at the right moment. He'll get there. Exactly. So that was one of the most encouraging things that I noticed from the breakdown. It was that these things are fixable, and it's okay. He's here right now. If he continues to play, What does it look like in 3 games? What does it look like in 5 games? What does it look like in 8 games? Uh, at the end of the season. The only thing that I think that I took away from that that's probably a little bit more difficult to change is the footwork, which is the biggest issue. All right. As JT O'Sullivan says, gets a little toesy, pops up and down. It's a little bit harder to be a little bit. It's a little harder to be consistent with your accuracy doing that. He needs to improve his feet. He says it. Get those cleats in the ground. Have a nice base instead of getting too tall. Sometimes you see that, and then you'll see him miss. Right. So it starts with his feet. And Greg Pinelli, he comes on every Monday for QB Monday, and he talks about it too. It starts from the ground up with everything. With the quarterback play, it starts from the ground up with the feet coming up. So one thing that is clear to me about Trey Lance is everything is headed in the right direction with everything, but got to get the feet right, and obviously has to see the field better. But seeing the field better, it sounds like it'll come with time. It's going to come with experience. The game's slowing down, and maybe that'll improve his feet too. Because right now, maybe if I'm not exactly sure what I'm seeing or the timing of things, that could throw things off. All right, but you guys got to watch JT O'Sullivan. It's a great breakdown. But one thing that he didn't talk, he talked about the feet, talked about all this and the other. He did not talk about the release. So I'm like, dang, he ain't mentioned the release one time. So let me ask him. So I DM'd him and I said, hey, great breakdown. Watch you talk about the feet and all that, and reads that he should be seeing and should be making. I'm pretty sure those things will come along, but you didn't talk about his release. Do you see anything wrong with his release? Is his motion too long? Is it too long? And he said this. Hold on, let me pull up because I don't want to paraphrase anything. So I said, where's it at? Hey, watching Lance. I said, hey, JT, watching Trey Lance, did you have any issues with his release? I see a lot of people complaining, saying it's too much of a windup. He said, no release issues, in my opinion. No release issues. So we hear everybody, and I asked him too, like, does the release equate to passes being knocked down? Said no. No. His release, his motion it doesn't have anything to do with passes getting batted down the line of scrimmage. So we hear those narratives being pushed out there, and I would probably listen to quarterback guys. I just saw somebody put a comment in there about DBs. Listen to quarterback guys and not just these random people on Twitter. All right. JT O'Sullivan, he's up there with the best of them, with the best. Now, I'm not saying his word is Bible, but if JT O'Sullivan says, I don't have any issues with his release, I don't have any issues with his windup, and that's not the reason passes got batted down, then I'm with JT O'Sullivan. So y'all can, whatever people kind of pushing that narrative, I've seen it out there. Oh, his windup, his motion, this and that. JT O'Sullivan says, not an issue. Not an issue. All right, so that's one thing to kind of keep in mind with the whole Trey Lance thing. I think a lot of it, as he continues to grow, the game slow down, start to see reads a little bit quicker, be able to pull that trigger quicker. You can see some hesitance, some throws that he made. The throwing lane was there, but he started to move to make the throw. JT's like, look, he doesn't have to move. Some of those things just probably has to be comfortable really being, seeing it and pulling the trigger on those throws. So saw a lot of youth in his performance. Felt like it definitely could have been worse. All right. I definitely saw a contribution. I have heard many people say the Niners almost won the last 2 games. I would say they hung around, but didn't almost win. What do you think? Thank you for the contribution, Vernon. I believe that the 49ers had opportunities to win. To say they almost won, you know what that reminds me of? You guys go back 2017, Kyle Shanahan's first year. The 49ers almost won 5 straight times, and they lost 5 straight times, right? But they lost what? They lost 5 straight games by 3 or less points. But it's like, if you don't almost win, you lose. In the NFL, most of the time, games they're not blowouts. Most games in the NFL are 1-score games. Most of them. Teams aren't really getting blown out. So every game you can almost win if you make a couple plays here and there that you probably could have made or or maybe it's things that you didn't make. But as far as almost winning, I don't really like that. Definitely, again, opportunities to win, but almost win. I think every team in the NFL damn near can say that. Oh, we almost won this game. Almost won that game. You know. Let's get to again real quick. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that good stuff. All right. I see an Atlanta Braves fan in here. Who you rooting for to win? The San Francisco Giants or the Dodgers? Who do y'all want to face? See the Atlanta Braves moved on. Here we go. Get to some of these questions in here. Last Sunday, Mark Sanchez called a QB run like 6 times in the game, so the defense must have known. I think you can see some things when you bring. Now, what's the counter to that? I think that's what we want to look for. What's the counter? If it is starting to get a little predictable, what's the counter to that? Oh, and one thing, and it's crazy from the breakdown, JT O'Sullivan, he was looking at that quarterback sneak from Kyle Juszczyk, and he was like, man, I would have liked to see them maybe do a toss to Trey Lance and get him out there on the edge. Then he's looking at it, and he's like, man, I think maybe that's what they were trying to do. And Kyle Juszczyk went rogue. We heard Kyle Shanahan talk about that, and he said, no, there was another option off of that. And that's what was supposed to happen. So everybody, I know we got on Kyle Shanahan for the Kyle Juszczyk sneak. That was not supposed to be the play. It was supposed to be a Kyle Juszczyk was supposed to get it and pitch it to Trey Lance. If you look at it, you'll see Trent Sherfield crack down, and you see Trent Williams start to pull, and you see Trey Lance start to move, and Kyle Juszczyk went rogue and did his own thing and went quarterback sneak. So that was one thing that he started to point out. I looked at it, we could see it, and also Kyle Shanahan talked about it a little bit as well. Yep. If you look, Trent is was ready to lead the way. That's true. That's true. The pitch was there. Yep. Front with open. Yeah, he would have had a lot of space too. I don't even think anybody was out there. He might have went to the house. That play would have been great. People would be like, "Oh my gosh, he's a genius." All right, but here we go. Deebo Samuel versus Brandon Aiyuk. We've seen Deebo and his development and maturity, and he's turning into really kind of being that guy, right? We've seen the opposite for Brandon Aiyuk. It's curious to see or hear people talk about Brandon Aiyuk, and you hear Kyle Shanahan talk about it, and I've kind of compared it to a story that I had. All right, and it's my senior year of college. I had to go through some adversity. I was benched game 3, right? So game 3, heading into week 3 or week 4, excuse me. After week 3, I was benched. Heading into week 4, we were 2-1. We had a game we lost. I felt like I was used as a scapegoat, whatever. But I got benched, and I ended up coming in that game like second quarter, and I started the rest of the year. I got all conference and everything like that. But the coaches, which I felt like they did a bad job of explaining to me, like, or kind of giving me a heads up of what's going on. The communication was all off. But the coach was like, we don't like the way that you're carrying yourself. Felt like you weren't practicing as hard, setting a bad example for the young guys, not being the leader that you're supposed to be. It's like, man, you guys couldn't tell me this, and I would have changed it. Nobody told me. But they have that was how they felt about it, and I needed to change some of my habits. I did change my work ethic, all that, went on to have a great season. With Brandon Aiyuk, it sounds like there's some of that going on. With the NFL, it's easy to kind of get complacent. In anything in life, right? In anything in life, you do it for a while, it becomes like you guys know. Have you ever had a job where it's like, man, I have a job and I'm making good money, awesome, and you attack it that first year, and it's like, hell yeah. Then after that, you kind of just you almost feel like, well, like this is just my job. I belong, and you at times you can kind of somewhat get complacent, especially if there's not these right away incentives, right? It's like, well, my salary is my salary. I show up, I clock in. And that's what happened with Brandon Aiyuk, I think, reading between the lines. I think Brandon Aiyuk got a little complacent and trying to flip that switch now. And they're kind of getting on him because he didn't approach it the right way heading into the season. Now, why is that? I couldn't tell you. And if that's 100% the case, I don't know. But it sounds like that's something that is going on with Brandon Aiyuk and listening to John Lynch on KBR. And he was saying it like, he's got a ways to go. He's coming around. We just need him, a little bit more. They want him to be the professional that Sherfield is. But even then, I mean, Sherfield's not getting like targets or anything like that. The offense has been kind of weird and stagnant. Deebo is healthier now. That might be the biggest thing with him. It was weird because a lot of people were really down on him and kind of crowned Aiyuk as the wide receiver one. If you guys been listening to my shows, I've been talking about it, man. Like, Deebo is the guy. Told y'all from a fantasy standpoint, Deebo is the guy. People, I got a lot of pushback on that. Matter of fact, there's this one tweet that went crazy because I said Deebo, fantasy, I'm taking Deebo first. And people didn't understand that. What? Like, nah, you're crazy. This and that. Oh, I hope y'all listen to me because Deebo's killing it right now. I think Deebo too has learned. They've challenged Deebo Samuel as well. I think people look at how Kyle Shanahan has coached these players. He's going to challenge everybody. There's not one of these guys that are like, oh, we're just going to let you kind of just go through and slip through the cracks. It's all about how you respond. Hopefully he doesn't get to that point, right? Who does Kyle love the most? The people that, they do these things on their own. They know how to be a pro. Sometimes they need that push. Deebo Samuel need that push. He challenged Deebo. Deebo needs to come in shape better. He needs to come into camp in shape. He needs to do the things that he needs to do, to work his body and prepare for the season and all that. He needs to do a better job. He challenged Deebo. Deebo answered the call. He's challenging Aiyuk. Aiyuk got to answer the call. It's crazy though because when Kyle is hard on, I don't even want to say hard on these guys, but he's holding them accountable. And again, everybody's different. I've talked about it. Rex Ryan was a different head coach than Darren Arbette, who coached me on the SaberCats. Totally different style of coaches. It's totally different. I was uncomfortable the entire time with the San Jose SaberCats. I was a guy who was coming off of an 11 interception season in Portland, had 11 picks in 1 year. Amazing year. Was a big-time free agent in the Arena League. Everybody wanted me. I ended up signing with San Jose. I got paid good money. And every time, while I was there, it felt like I was disposable. Like we can get rid of Crocker at any time. Like that was how I felt. So I had to raise my game. I knew I had to be on my A game the entire time. If I wasn't, they were going to hold me accountable for it. It was an uncomfortable feeling, but I think that's part of the reason why we were able to win the championship. It seems like Kyle's holding his guys to that type of standard. And I feel like he gets a lot of pushback for it, which I don't quite understand. I don't quite understand. I think people are like, well, who cares if this guy is not doing the things that to the standard of what you want him to do? Just get him out there because he's good. I don't think Kyle thinks like that. I think Kyle thinks like, if you're doing the right things, you'll be out there. If you're not, your opportunities be cut short. It's not resulting in championships for him. I think that's the bigger issue. Is Deebo healthier because he's not running a lot of sweeps this year? No. Okay, let's talk about Deebo's health. Because there's this kind of a misconception to his injury history, at least his time in the NFL. Deebo Samuel played, and thank you for the contribution. Deebo Samuel played as aggressive of a style a play as anybody. Bulldozing through people, running through people, all that stuff. That is not why Deebo Samuel got hurt. So his rookie year, he missed one game, right? So for all the injury concerns that everybody has with Deebo Samuel, his rookie year, he missed one game. He played, 18 games. So 18 out of 19 games he played. All right. The next year, it all started with a broken foot. So he had the broken foot in the offseason while working out, had the broken foot in the offseason. He was never able to get back in shape, which resulted in a pulled hamstring and another pulled hamstring. His physical play has not resulted in injury for the most part. Maybe that one game he was banged up, probably could have played if he had to, missed one game against Washington his rookie year. The games after that, It wasn't, oh, I'm running through people and I'm missing games, or oh, my shoulder is broken, or my you know ankle or whatever. No, it was not being in the proper shape that he needed to be after breaking his foot, not being able to train the way he needed to train, pulling the hamstring, rushing back, pulling the hamstring again, then sitting out the year. It wasn't his physical style of play that has resulted in injury. Not at all. At least not in the NFL for Deebo Samuel. So uh I don't know, like him running sweeps and stuff like that. I think because people see, I think it was the Patriots. Was it the Patriots game? He got injured on the first play. They handed the ball off to him and he just pulled his hamstring. But it was never about like the physical style in which he plays. Right. And thank you for the contribution. Debo's injuries are from being overweight before training camp. And even then, that was only one time. And why was he overweight? He broke his foot. Broke his foot. Broke his foot, wasn't able to prepare the right way, gain some weight, not being able to, get to what he needed to get to or whatever, pulled a hamstring. Rushed it back, still wasn't in great shape, hamstring again. A lot of people get on Deebo Samuel about the injury stuff, but at least that part of it I can justify. I appreciate everybody that's in here right now. Make sure if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. All right. You guys, last thing before I get into opening up everything for you guys. One, real quick, and I'm not gonna go into this too long. Is Kendrick Bourne missed? Because a lot of people acted like Kendrick Bourne was just, that was the 49ers' best red zone threat. Started off really slow in New England. He's starting to pick up now. First couple games, he was kind of really a non-factor. Had a 100-yard game recently. He's been doing much better. Is Kendrick Bourne missed? I feel like people talk real dirty about him, but he was very consistent. Would drop a pass in there. He had games where he dropped a lot of passes. Like one game a year, Kendrick Bourne was going to drop 3 passes. Outside of that, he wasn't dropping a bunch of passes. He dropped 4 passes in one game last year. 4. He had 6 drops on the year. 4 of them was in one half against, it was either Arizona or Washington. So in the other 16 games of the season, he dropped 2 passes. He just had these weird spurts. He actually dropped 3 passes. 2019, Kendrick Bourne dropped 3 passes for all the slack that people gave him for the drops and all that. In 2019, you guys can look it up. Kendrick Bourne had 3 drops, and 2 of them were in one game against Seattle, one that got picked off going the other way. Kendrick Bourne was good for the offense. Had a weird game. Don't know when that weird game was going to be. Had a weird game where he dropped multiple passes. Bourne had got a bad rap. He was a legit wide receiver 3, 4th option for the 49ers. I think we missed KB a little bit. All right, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Put some respect on Kendrick Bourne's name. Justice for KB. All right. Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead. I think because of the slow start that the 49ers team has gotten to, the defense being on the field a whole lot, maybe more than you would like. I think last game, offense did a good job of consistently moving the ball. 8 out of 10 possessions, 49ers moved the ball into Arizona territory. I think that helped the defense a lot. Look at those overall numbers from the Arizona Cardinals, probably their lowest numbers. A lot of it had to do with them moving the ball. Now, can that result in points? Keep playing Trey Lance. I think it'll start to result in points. But the defense, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, they've been doing terrific. Armstead, I saw this stat and it was like a pass rush double team thing or whatever. Nick Bosa was at like the top. Like he's killing it. And we're talking about somebody who had 5 sacks in 5 games. Nick Bosa has been killing it. It's like it's not talked about enough. 5 sacks in 5 games. Sacks aren't, I don't want to say they're overrated. I just listened to the the head coach of the Chargers. He talked about it. He said sacks, whatever. They value pressures more. They feel like pressure is more vital to continuous success. Armstead is near the top of the league in pressures. He's been consistently getting pressure. Bosa has been, I mean, shoot, 5 sacks in 5 games. I don't really have much to touch on with them, but I just wanted to make sure that I show y'all some love, show them some love. Will the offense get together this season? I hope so. Here's the link to the chat, man. You guys come on, speak your mind. Anything that you guys want to talk about, come on. The floor is yours. I appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's bye week. Won't be here Friday morning. There won't be a show Friday morning. Sacks can be a product of being the weakest link on your D line, so you're always blocked 1-on-1. I can see that. I can see that. BA is more valuable than KB because he can truly make the clutch catches. The 2 Sunday were totally sick. If Brandon Aiyuk is going to be more valuable than Kendrick Bourne, it's not going to be because of clutch catches, because Kendrick Bourne made several clutch catches. Several. Really, all his catches were like third down catches. You know what I'm saying? It was like third down or touchdown, like 90% of his passes that he caught. Third down catches, moving the ball for first downs or touchdowns. So Kendrick Bourne had a lot of clutch moments. Think back to the playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. Third down, they throw the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo threw it high and behind over the middle. Kendrick Bourne goes up, twists his body in the air, catches the ball, comes down with it. Another third down play, the ball kind of gets hit or whatever. The ball kind of flutters towards the sideline. Third down, who dives and makes the catch? Kendrick Bourne. So, go red zone touchdown, Kendrick Bourne. 2 third down red zone touchdowns against the Saints. Twice, third down in the clutch, Kendrick Bourne. So it's not going to be because of clutch catches. BA is more dynamic. He's more dynamic than Kendrick Bourne. In theory, he's a better deep threat than Kendrick Bourne. More dynamic. That's where he's better than Kendrick Bourne. It's not the clutch factor, and those were 2 clutch catches for Brandon Aiyuk, but KB gave you a lot of that same value. So yeah, definitely he can be better, but it's not going to be because of the clutch aspect of it. Got our first caller coming on, my guy Dion. Here we go, Dion. What's good, man?
What's good, Croc?
Here we go.
Yeah, good.
Chilling,
What's,
man. On this beautiful morning.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, anytime you're on the other side of the grass, it's a beautiful morning.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's real talk.
Yeah, man.
What do you think? Hey, what do you think? What do you think is the biggest deciding factor as to why Aiyuk hasn't gotten as involved as we would like, especially early on, wasn't getting the targets, even from Jimmy Garoppolo. Somebody did point out that when Aiyuk started turning up last year, it was actually Mullens that was throwing him the
Yeah.
rock.
You know the weird thing, Nick Mullens has done that for a couple of people on this team.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
helped George Kittle. So the thing is, it's all. I think a lot of it can be chemistry. Not 9 times out of 10, your chemistry with the receiver is going to determine whether you throw to them or not, strictly based on the fact of, you knowing what they do, how they catch it, where to place the ball. There's a variety of things that go into it. But I honestly think, maybe it is Shanahan and his work ethic. Shanahan has like what I like to call like he has like Belichick tendencies, but he's not Belichick all the way.
right.
And I always say that because I'm the type of person I like Belichick because Belichick keeps his foot on your throat and he mashes through the game if he can. And Kyle sometimes lets his foot off the gas and that costs us. But for me, yeah, I gotta put a little respect on KB name out there, man. Don't make it seem like he ain't do nothing for the squad. KB was catching either first downs or touchdowns. If you look at his statistical output, I know he would have drops, and that would frustrate people. And the other, the thing that honestly frustrated me about KB was he was always smiling when he did stuff. And I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
why are you laughing? That's not funny. I read an article that someone put up. It's on Niners Nation. KB is just like that. He used to get ripped by Kyle in practice and be the whole time be like smiling and looking like nothing. That's just it's his personality. So see, once you understand how a person moves, you can understand why they do things a certain way. What you were saying about Nip Hustle, he blew a reporter's mind in an interview because this was very early in his mixtape days, and the reporter said, "What you gonna do when you get your first big check?" He was like, "I'm
He's gonna
probably gonna
invest it.
invest it into some real estate or something." And the reporter literally couldn't even say anything for at least a good 10 to 15 seconds. They had to bring him back to earth because he was like, "Really? What?" And then he looked into the camera like, "Did y'all hear that?" Most people, I'm gonna buy a big chain. I'm gonna go get the new Benz. Hustle was way before his time, man. RIP him, and that's my area. You know what I'm saying? He grew up in Crenshaw area, and so did I. So I got a lot of love for him. I listen to his music to this day, very
Yeah.
motivational. But I think Aiyuk, his situation is based off of whatever Kyle is seeing as far as work ethic. Maybe it's kind of confusing though, because if his work ethic isn't as great as you say it is, why is he on the field? Why not put Trent Sherfield out there, who
Well,
you praised?
I don't, and it sounds like he's trying, right? And he is out there.
Uh-huh.
He just hasn't
Yeah,
gotten the
yeah,
ball for whatever reason. Sometimes it could be because of the reads, or the reads, not dictating, or the reads kind of, and the way the defense plays things kind of dictates where you go with the ball. But I kind of call BS on that a little bit with Kyle Shanahan because he can design things to get the ball in Ayuk's hands whenever he wants,
yeah.
So I'm curious to see moving forward. How do they continue? How do they start utilizing him? Because there is no reason why he can't be more productive. Now, they keep saying that he's not in the doghouse, but then everything that they're saying kind of alludes to him kind of being in somewhat of a doghouse, but he is out there. So I don't know. It's a weird dynamic. They got to start figuring out though how to get him the ball more. He was
It's
targeted
extremely
probably more.
contradictory.
Yeah, he was
It
targeted.
contradicts itself. Yeah.
He's starting to get targeted more, but
Mhm.
definitely has to get more of a rapport with the quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, man, and for the people out there listening, I had a talk with one of my guys who has some inside connections to the Niners. So I have to kind of walk back my comments. I'll eat my crow. It's not that Kyle Shanahan doesn't necessarily care for African American quarterbacks. It's more so I know I'm a man, so I can do that. People
Yeah,
out there with this keep the same energy crap. I don't do. I'm not with this new age stuff. I can admit when I'm wrong. My people that had some connections inside just let me know that Kyle still doesn't feel like he's ready. So
right.
it's him
Which is
battling
true.
with that. That's why you kind of see him leaning a little toward Jimmy. That's what it is. Kyle's battling with the fact that he feels Trey isn't ready, but then at the same time, he loves what Trey can give him and the options he gives him. So I'll eat crow on that. I was wrong. I can admit that, and I'm a man
Listen
about
though, listen. No, it's true, right? I mean, we know that, but at the end of the day, no rookie is necessarily ready.
it.
The thing is,
Hmm.
how do we get him ready? Right? Is
Yeah,
him just being in practice and getting those reps as a scout team quarterback? Is that what's going to get him ready? And if so, all right. But it seems like the things that he needs to improve on, he has to be in the field for it. When I was watching JT O'Sullivan's breakdown, everything where JT's like, oh, okay, has to see this a little bit quicker. Um, has to understand this protection. Uh, the ball should be coming out right now. Like, I feel like those things, he probably going to improve on them as he plays. I'm pretty sure Kyle Shanahan, Rich Grillo, they're watching film with Trey Lance, and they're pointing out the same things that JT O'Sullivan pointed out. But they're able to see those things because he's in the game and is live. And now it's
yeah,
like, okay, he can start to understand, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that. And it's not going to be something that just changes overnight. But the thing is, again, I keep saying it. Where is he at right now? And where is he at by week 18? So if he goes through this for another 3 games, or is he going to be in the same place as he was week 6, or whatever week it was when the 49ers just lost? That's my thing. So I think, week 5. I feel like he has to play and kind of go through those things, but I get it from Kyle's standpoint where it's like I don't have to go through those things with him because I have Jimmy Garoppolo.
yeah, and I can understand that as well. But yeah, that the whole point of it is get him the reps, and he'll learn. He'll build the rapport with the receivers. he'll start to make the throws. He'll start to see things from a different perspective, and he'll be able to give us those wins that we're longing for and we're looking for, man. My
Yeah.
number one thing is, I know a lot of people are saying, Kyle's seat is getting warm. Kyle ain't going nowhere for at least the next 2 years. This year and next year. At a bare minimum, he'll be here because with that new contract, you're not going to pay that man. And I think we
Yeah.
did that earlier in our years. I think we had to pay Chip Kelly, even when he
He
left. And
they were paying 3 coaches at one time. Chip
yeah, they're
Kelly,
paying three coaches.
yeah,
Oh my God. And that
it
you
was
don't want
Chip,
to be in that kind of,
Tom
yeah,
Sula,
Tom
and
Sula.
Kyle. And if they were to let Kyle go, there's no offset in his contract. So
Yeah,
um,
so we
even if
would have wound
another
up.
team gets him, where Chip Kelly took time off, went to college, so you
Mhm.
still have to pay him. Shanahan
Yeah.
will get picked up right away, and you still have to pay him. Real quick, Dion, I'm gonna get you off. I got to get Logan on, and then we
Okay.
got Will waiting. I appreciate you coming on, though, bro.
Hey man, I appreciate you too. Hey, and appreciate you sharing your story earlier, man. That's
Oh yeah,
definitely a great thing. And continue to keep grinding, baby. And we all here. We got your back, man. You know what I'm
yes,
saying? Nothing
sir.
but love to you. Blessings to you and your family. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Here we go. Real quick, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. About to get our guy Logan on, and then we got Will waiting as well. Big Des, appreciate the contribution. You've been good to me last couple of days. Is Mullens still in the league? If not, Kyle should sort him out for quarterback coach. Am I looking at that right? I don't got my glasses on. I don't believe Mullens is on the team. I don't think so. So yeah, quarterback coach. I think if Mullens is out a couple years, I definitely can see him being a quarterback coach after that. And we've seen that with guys like what's the kid's name? Moore, Kellen Moore, right? He's actually offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, and he's killing it. But he was a guy who, maybe didn't have as much natural talent, so his stint in the NFL was a little bit shorter. But terrific mind, is able to be a great coach. Same with what's the guy's name? Ken Dorsey, right? Former 49er. Shoot, one of the greatest college quarterbacks ever from a winning standpoint. But Ken Dorsey, short stint in the NFL, ended up being a quarterback coach. No, he was with the Panthers for a while. Now he's a quarterback coach, and yeah, I think he's been where is he now? But he's still a quarterback coach. But anyways, Nick Mullens, I think he'd be the perfect quarterback coach because one thing about guys like Nick Mullens and even myself, right? I wasn't like the most athletic guy, so I had to learn to be a little bit more the mental side of things and the technical side of things. Like I had to learn those things for me to be successful. I think that's the same thing with Nick Mullens, just the way he approaches the game, the attention to detail that he pays. He might not be able to execute the things the way that he wants to because of his physical limitations, but he's somebody that would be an amazing coach and somebody to really get a guy like even Trey Lance to reach his full potential as a passer and from a mindset. So I would no, I don't know. I don't want to say I would rather have Nick Mullens as quarterback coach than Scangarillo, but I wouldn't mind having Nick Mullens as a quarterback coach. I think he'd be awesome and really good for our young quarterback. Appreciate the contribution. Here we go. Next caller on. We got Logan. What's up,
Hey,
man?
man. Hey, how's it going, man? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. I'm chilling, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, man, just stumbled on the show a couple days ago. I love it. I look forward to it every
Oh,
morning now. So,
awesome.
um,
I try to, just be the voice of reason for the
you are
faithful.
you are you're one of the most chill Niner guys on YouTube right now. Everyone else is like, fire this guy, fire that guy. It's nuts right now. It seems.
You
But
know, I do have my moments. Not that. Like I probably don't show it. I might have it with my friends or whatever. But at the end of the day, that's not realistic, right? Like fire Kyle Shanahan or like that's not going to happen. So let's just talk about what's going on, where the 49ers at, and what areas can we improve on?
exactly. As far as Trey Lance, real quick, man, I thought he looked great. A 21-year-old kid going down to Arizona and not turning the ball over like 5 times. That stadium was rocking. And I did he get one? Um, uh, he only had the one turnover too. So I
Yeah, he
think he
had the
did a great job.
interception. Now they had a couple,
Yeah.
or more than a couple. They had some turnover on downs, going for it on 4 downs.
Hmm.
But I do agree, man. I think he did a good job of, protecting the ball for the most part outside the first drive. He did a good job of moving the sticks. I think when you say he played great, it's considering all the circumstances, right? Like you're not saying he
Exactly.
played
Yeah,
great like
I'm not saying
Lamar
yeah.
Jackson did the
Yeah,
other night.
Roger.
You're
Yep.
saying, with everything that's going on, being on the road, first start,
Hmm.
good defense. You got Chandler Jones and JJ Watt over there and Buda Baker. And with everything that was going on, first career start, NFL, all that, he played
Yeah.
well considering. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just real quick on the offensive line side. What's going on with the right side? It just seems like every year McGlinchey, like it comes down in the fourth quarter, and you could just count on him just crashing and letting the guy by, no matter who he's going up against. Too. I know he's more of a run blocking guy, so when it comes to pass, he's just not usually the greatest. But just
Right.
like every game where we need him, like it comes down to it, it's always like you got to avoid that right side at all costs. It's nuts.
Yeah, he's typically been a stout guy, especially in the run game. They said the added weight was supposed to help him, but I don't know. And I don't want to speak too much on McGlinchey because I haven't watched him on a consistent basis. But and it's tough because offensive line is kind of like cornerback, where they only show you typically when you're doing something like bad, or that's
Yeah,
when the
you
fans
don't hear
really
your name
notice.
when you're doing good. Yeah,
Yeah, so offensive line, if he's just doing his thing, they might show like a little montage of it late in the game, but for the most part, it's just kind of quiet. Then, he get bulldozed here. Oh, he gets pushed on the ground, or he got called for
yeah,
holding. We're gonna notice those things are gonna stick out. But I mean, I would probably look at the PFF grades. They're pretty. Offensive line is probably one of the easier ones to kind of grade because there's so many reps that they get to look at, and I think that'll be something good to kind of see. How's he doing on PFF?
definitely.
If PFF says he's doing bad, then he's probably doing bad.
I didn't check PFF, but last thing, real quick, when Kyle was coaching RG3 in Washington, was his dad still there? Is that why he was able to ball out the way he did, or did his dad already leave that team? Like,
No,
you think
yeah,
his
no,
dad had any?
his dad was the head coach. Kyle was the offensive coordinator. I think one thing that people kind of forget because it's like, well, RG3 he won offensive rookie of the year. He they went to the playoffs. But one thing that kind of gets overlooked in that whole situation was they didn't start great with RG3. They picked it up and they won 7 games straight down the stretch. So
Okay,
that's what really allowed them to make the playoffs. They started cooking at the right time. So even with the 49ers, I mean, everybody's kind of down and out right now. The team is 2-3. They're not out of it. They go on a say the 49ers go on a say they win a game, they lose a game, they win a game, and then they go on like a 7-game win streak. They'll be a playoff team. That'll be 10 wins. So yeah, I mean, it's not over, but
yeah, you'll be
you
right
got to get
there.
one of these guys get hot. I think the tough thing is you're not really seeing the signs offensively that is gonna click. But I have faith in Kyle that at some point it will. They'll turn it around.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But hey, man, I'm gonna get out. Let someone else get in. Thanks for taking the call, bro.
All right, appreciate you. Thanks, man.
Bye.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Here, real quick, I have a super chat. Here we go, Petty. I appreciate you. Uh, I know you continuously give the donations. I appreciate that. Trey needs the reps just so he can get better. The old line needs reps with him scrambling. Wait, okay, hold on. I'm definitely gonna put my glasses on because I'm butchering these reads. All right, here we go. Now I can see. Trey needs the reps, not just so he can get better. The O line needs the reps with him scrambling, holding calls, and the wide receivers reps with him scrambling. I agree. It's just the overall continuity of the offense and the cohesiveness and understanding your quarterback, and really just the reps of being able to build that rapport with not just him in the sense of him seeing the field, but the offensive line, the receivers. I 100. I agree with that. I agree with that, and that's what I mean, you would think that is obvious, but it's tough when you're trying to juggle 2 different quarterbacks, and ultimately they have 2 different abilities and different ways that the team has to prepare. So it is tough. I don't know how you do it when you continue to go from one guy to the other, but weird situation Kyle Shanahan has himself in. I appreciate the contribution. Here we go. Got my guy Will coming on. Will, what's up, man? How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. What's good, gang?
Oh man, I'm chilling. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good, bro. Yeah, man. I just wanted to speak on the Brandon Aiyuk situation, man. I think nothing's wrong with Brandon Aiyuk, man. I think Brandon Aiyuk is gonna be one of the best wide receiver in this league. Now, the statement that John Lynch made on the radio, I don't agree with it. Like he said, he needs. I mean, every day, each player needs to get better every day. But that statement he made about him taking it to another level, I think IU can take it to another level right away. But the thing is, it's the quarterback, bro. It's the
Right.
quarterback. Kyle Shanahan, when Kyle Shanahan schemes up the offense, man, he schemes up IU to be going downfield or deep outside the numbers.
Right.
And the reason why Aiyuk hasn't been getting any touches this year is because it's Jimmy. Jimmy cannot put the ball in places where Aiyuk is located at on the field. So that's why I say that's why Trey Lance needs to first get the reps that he needs this
Yeah.
year. And when you seen him this past Sunday, Aiyuk touched the ball the most than he ever did this season with Trey Lance. I mean with Jimmy. Because
Well, no,
because
there was
Aiyuk
the
was
Packer
kind of
game. The Packer game, I think Ayuk had 4 catches and a touchdown.
okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, but no, I agree
Okay,
in
I
the
stand
sense of
corrected.
yeah, but that's still not to the extent of what it should be, right? When you have somebody with the talent
Right.
that Brandon Ayuk has, there should definitely be more than just one game where he has 4 catches. I think he has like 7 on the year. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. That's why I say, man, we know we already know that Lance can make the throws, right? He can, from short all the way downfield. We know that because we seen it in preseason, He can make the throws at all locations. So that's why I say IU IU needs to be paired up with Lance. And if that can continue to stick with Lance for the rest of the season, we will see more of IU. IU
Right.
worked out with Trey Lance this whole offseason. The chemistry is there. It's just that Kyle is not putting Trey Lance in the game. You know,
Yeah.
so he played last Sunday because of the injury to Jimmy. But that's why I say, bro, like Trey Lance just need to go ahead and finish the rest of the season as the starter. And plus, you need to get the offensive line used to him being out there because of the scrambling, because they're not used to a mobile quarterback. That's why all the holding calls was being thrown all over the place because they're not
Right.
used to a mobile quarterback. You want to go back and forth with Jimmy, and you messing up the chemistry with the offensive line. So I mean,
Yep.
at the end of the day, bro, I I think IU can get be the best player he can be, but he just need the right quarterback on the field, bro. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yep. And again, I think, and I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm gonna take you off now, but yeah, man. They also they're talking about this thing with him, how he's preparing. I don't know what it is, but you got to figure it out. That's your first round pick. He has to figure it out. I know they're holding him accountable, and I agree with holding players accountable and holding them to a certain standard of preparation. But at some point, it's like, all right, come on, Ayuk. They are targeting him, and there have been times that he's been open. So just not targeting him, I think, to the extent that we would like to see. And I do feel like there's more opportunity for Kyle Shanahan to, I don't want to say force feed him, but get the ball in his hands. And Kyle talked about it a little bit. And I don't know if it was a shot at Brandon Ayuk, but Kyle did say last season it was easier. He said last season it was easier to get Ayuk the ball because they had no other receivers. So, dude, we had no other receivers. So, yeah, it's easy to get you to rock. Then who else are we gonna throw the ball to? That was how I took it. But it's like, well, he was successful doing it. But he's right. I mean, there was no Deebo, there was no Kittle for most of the year. It was just him and Kendrick Bourne. So yeah, we're gonna dial up everything for Ayuk, force feeding the ball. It's like now we don't gotta do that. Is he right for that? Is he wrong for that? Awesome here. We got an awesome contribution. Juby Jackson, I appreciate you. How many passes did we see Trey get off right before the defender could chase him down? That's an indicator of his throwing motion. Wait, is that an indicator of his throwing motion? Is fun. Respect from the 916. Be blessed. Appreciate you. Okay, 916. Okay, Sacramento. I'll be in Sacramento this Friday. So let me try to put together what you're saying here. And I appreciate the contribution. Big time. How many passes did we see Trey get off right before a defender's about to chase him down? I know one play that are you talking about like the when he was rolling left and JJ Watt almost he like brought the ball and threw it kind of out of bounds. JJ Watt almost knocked the ball out of his hand. I wouldn't say for everybody that talks about him having a long release, I think that kind of showed that maybe his release is long, but his hands are quick. And I know my guy Greg Pinelli comes on Mondays and he talks about that, talks about having quick hands. And that's one part. Fine, not okay. Hold on. Let me read. Okay, so I see you said fine. Hold on. Let me try to read this back. How many passes did we see Trey Lance get off right before a defender could chase him down? Is that an indicator that his throwing motion is fine? Okay, yeah. So again, and we talked about a little bit when we first came on. Make sure if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. JT O'Sullivan, I asked him, is there any issues with Trey Lance's release? Did you see anything wrong with the long release or loopy or whatever it is? He said, no issues with the release. No issues. That's JT O'Sullivan. And I respect his opinion. I value it. All right. But also, my guy Greg Pinelli has said as well. You can have a longer release if the release is quick. He says you have to have fast hands. And also, having fast hands speeds up when you have a guy, the game start to slow down for him. He get the ball in his hands quicker. That'll speed up it as well. When you look at the play where Watt was chasing him down and he's rolling to his left, and he dropped that arm down and came up and threw the ball before J.J. Watt could knock it out of his hands, that showed me he has fast hands with his release. So again, there's two different things here. Does he have a release? Yes. That can long release, that could be true. But if he has long release and he's getting it out right now, it's not going to be as much an issue as I think people think. I do think, obviously, yes, it's something that he needs to improve on. But over time, we'll see how that starts to be corrected. I always thought Phillips, are you talking about Phillip Rivers? Mechanics looked awkward. Phillip Rivers, that's different. He like shot putting the ball. Okay, I see somebody else say Phillip Rivers throwing motion was trash, never affected his career. Exactly. So a lot of guys that if you listen to guys, and I've heard Steve Young talk about this as well. Steve Young talked about he wanted his throwing motion to look like Dan Marino. Marino just had this pure throwing motion, like just beautiful, pure, just ugh. And Steve Young's like, man, like that's what it's supposed to look like. Like I need my throwing motion to look like that. And what Steve Young learned is your throwing motion is your throwing motion. You got to learn to kind of perfect your throwing motion, but you don't really want to change your mechanics. And most of these quarterback coaches that I talk to, they talk about not really changing the throwing motion too much. Not really changing the throwing motion. That now these are the quarterback guys I talk to. Most of the time they talk about that, not really overly changing the throwing motion. They want it to be more natural. They've talked about maybe where you carry the ball. So Aaron Rodgers, and again, my guy, Greg Pinelli, talks about this on QB Monday. Aaron Rodgers was somebody that used to carry the ball here, and that was something that people would teach. It was like this high, he calls it like holding the ball in the carriage. It's up here. But if you watch Aaron Rodgers now, which he has quick hands, quick release, all that, and it's not a long loopy release or anything. But if you watch Aaron Rodgers now, he carries it by his waist, and it's just boom, ball out. He don't do it way up here. Now you can change things like that. And even with Trey Lance, and my guy Greg Pinelli has talked about it. Even with Trey Lance, I need to start having a football in here. I actually have one, but it's in my little case. But even with Trey Lance, and Pinelli has talked about it, Trey Lance has a habit of bringing the ball up and then back, right? So that makes it, instead of just bringing it back and going here, he brings it up and then throws it. So that's something that over time, maybe he can work to kind of clean up that quote unquote wasted motion. But for the most part, for the quarterback coaches I've talked to, the quarterback coaches, the guys that train guys, the guys that do this for a living, that work with professional athletes, stuff like that, they have not had an issue with Trey Lance's throwing motion. Now, Twitter tells me that's not the case. So, I don't know. Who do you guys think is wrong or right? Juby Jackson, I hope I'm saying the name right. We'll call you Jackson. Action Jackson. I appreciate the contribution big time. Appreciate that a ton. Let's go. All right, here we go. Got probably the last person coming on here. My guy Rich, I'm glad you can join. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm feeling blessed.
Good, man. Appreciated your story this morning, man. I was, it's not easy to open up like that, so that's pretty cool.
Well,
Um,
it's easy for me because to me it's a part of my life, my story, right? Like I feel like sometimes people are embarrassed about things or whatever, but it's like, man, if you go through these things, you go through them. I think that the goal is to not repeat them, right? Like that's the goal, to not repeat the mistakes and things like that. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So Monday, it's interesting. I actually had, I don't know if you remember, I had mentioned the wrinkle I wanted to see with the use check play, and now it comes out that that was probably the play to begin with, was toss it to Lance. And so I think I need to temper my expectations a little bit about Kyle Shanahan's play calling, because sometimes it can be execution, and which is what it sounds like that situation was. And even that first play, I think after the all 22 came out, they mentioned how the blocking techniques were off. The McGlin, I believe it was McGlinchey, shouldn't have come down. He should have stayed in. So the whole offensive line play calling was off on that. And
Right.
so a lot of it comes down to execution. But I do think part of that has to do with the coaching up your players. So I don't think Shanahan can be off it completely. I just think we need to, as a fan base, maybe temper our hate, vitriol towards his play calling, because it seems like we're all calling for Shanahan's head at this point. And the other thing I wanted to mention was the Aiyuk thing, and you actually hit it before I was able to call in. But I'm wondering if Shanahan had an issue with Aiyuk last year, and it just didn't manifest itself because he was forced to play Aiyuk because of Deebo's injury and Kittle's injury. So this could have been something that was going on last year, and we just didn't know it because Shanahan had no other choice. And it's just kind of manifesting itself now because Deebo is healthy and going out, and they're going with other options like well, they're not really throwing to Sherfield, but they brought up Benjamin and Sanu, they're throwing to him too. So maybe it was just something that we didn't see last year because of the wide receiver situation. So, but anyway, that's all I got. I just wanted to I wanted to hit you up this morning and just say thanks, bro.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the love. All right, here we go. So got a special guest coming on, special guy. Some of you guys have been rocking with me for a while. Y'all know who this is, and I see this. Hey, this is love right here. Been rocking with you since press coverage. Let's go. That was my first podcast. And I was telling the story a little bit about my podcast journey. Well, just my journey in general. But when I was doing press coverage, man, I get about $30 for the month doing press coverage. But I would talk about football for free. So, it was cool doing that. I've learned a lot from doing that. And there's just the consistency that you have to have for things to kind of really grow and build and everything like that. Definitely talked about, my dad and I've talked about a little bit, man, me and my dad, he was my best friend. And when I was with the Jets during training camp, my dad actually passed away. And that was tough. For the first time in my life, when my dad, and we were best friends, we talked every day. And we didn't really develop that relationship until maybe I was like 17, 18 years old. But, and he was in and out of jail and all that. But he passed away at the age of 48, 2013, when I was with the Jets. And for the first time in my life, football was not important to me. And it was really weird. It was a weird space and time for me. I think sometimes, and people talk about it like, sometimes we need to talk to people, right? Like therapists and, things like that. And I never really talked to anybody. They had somebody on site with the Jets that talked to me a little bit and would ask me how I'm doing and how, feelings, but I didn't really know how to open up about like emotions and stuff because, we're all taught to be like macho and rah-rah. So it's like, how do I open up about my emotions, about a situation and whatnot? So, the issue with my dad, man, passing away, it was like abrupt, had no issues, no health issues. But it made for a while, man, football was not important to me. I just started kind of going through the motions. Really weird time for me, man. But I still appreciate the contribution. I still see it up there. Appreciate the love as well. All right, here we go. So, hey, and I was there when Revis was there when I first got to the Jets. He ended up getting traded. He actually held out for a while. Then he came back. He was rehabbing from a torn ACL. Then they got traded to Tampa Bay. But I was in some meetings with Revis. And it's weird because, you see this, like, Revis was legit built different. And the crazy thing about Revis, he was built different and not in a different way than y'all would think. Like, when you just looked at Revis, he wasn't a guy that just had, like, muscle or anything like that. He looked kind of like out of shape, but he was just hella good. Hella good. Everything was just on point. Everything was on point. Yeah. So here we go, man. We're gonna get with my guy. Here we go. Where's our layover? Here we go. Here's our layover. It's Wednesday. So y'all know what it is. It's Whiteout Wednesday with my guy, Jasper Rose. What's up, man?
What's good, bro? Good morning.
Man, good morning. So we're gonna hang on here for a little bit longer. And so this is, if you guys don't know, it's my guy Jasper Rose. We do Whiteout Wednesday. And Jasper, we played football against each other. We played with each other for a little bit up there in Portland in the Arena Football League. But he's a receiver, and he understands those things and how these receivers feels, and he tries to bring that perspective with everything. But somebody asked how many starter snaps did I play? 0. Was not happening. I wish. Wasn't fast enough. I wasn't good enough on special teams to do anything really in the NFL. But Jasper, I want you to come on and really talk about just the state of really whatever's on your mind. The floor is yours. We've talked about things and we've gone on about things, but you might be able to bring a different perspective. You can talk about the receivers, the quarterback situation, the coaching situation. What's on your mind, man?
I think just overall right now, I'm feeling, just like, a lot of Niner fans are. They're frustrated with the offense, frustrated with Kyle Shanahan, frustrated with, the recurring injuries and things like that. What I'd say is, it's wild. They're 2-2 right now, to your point earlier. I've been listening and I've heard a lot of the comments and I've seen a lot of the things that have been said in the chats. And, they're 2-2 right now. That's the bright side. But, it could be 5-0. It's crazy. And the ironic thing about the way they've lost all 3 of these games, you could say you could talk about the injuries, you could talk about the defense, you could talk about the play calling, the mismanagement of the time clock, whatever the case may be. But every single game they've literally lost has been because the other team's quarterback was better. And the ironic thing about that is that's what they wanted to address in the offseason when they there was obviously the reports out there that they wanted Stafford. There was obviously the reports out there before the Watson situation happened that they wanted Watson. And then, it seems like Trey Lance was the plan C. And the frustrating part about that is if that was your plan C, but when you decide to go with that, you kind of got to go all in. And we talked about that during our Whiteout, Wednesday segments. And, if you're going to do it, you kind of you have to go all in. And so you go to the Packers game, we're 2-0 at that time. We go to 2-0, we lose that game. We all know it. Oh yeah, bro. It's early for me. It's early for me, bro. Got the Darth Vader voice right. Yeah, bro. The Packers game, we saw Aaron Rodgers do it with 37 seconds. Say what you want about whatever happened in that game. It doesn't matter. At 37 seconds, Aaron Rodgers took over, did what he does. He was better than our quarterback. The second game, we got the Seahawks. We pretty much dominated the Seahawks the entire game. 2 plays stood out to me. The Houdini play by Russ, where he rolls out and then finds somebody nobody knows in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. 1-score game. That was the difference in the game. And the scramble. He accounted for both of their touchdowns in that game. We lose by a score. And then we just saw what Kyler Murray did. We dominated them the entire game. He throws pretty much a prayer to the D-Watt. Jimmy Ward loses track of the ball. It was actually underthrown. D-Hop makes a great play, comes back to it. Then the very next play, he throws a crazy back shoulder, pretty much whistles right by Norman's ear hole. And D-Watt makes the catch. That's game. That was game. But we pretty much, you know what I mean? So had Trey Lance made a play, here and there, that game might swing different. Had
Right. If
Jimmy
he scores on the red goal line, if
right,
they,
well,
don't
it's
feel
just
so pressed to score points and they kick a couple field goals, the game could have played out different. And I think that's the aspect that a lot of people miss out on when people be like, oh, it's not quarterback versus quarterback. Right. Because you could be like,
but it
but,
is.
but it is because you have to match this guy play for play when it's needed.
100.
I look at where the 49ers are and having a guy like Trey Lance, the goal is to get him to the point where he's that guy, right? Like, and clearly he has the ability, right? I think that's one thing, and you can talk about what you see, but I see he has all the ability, like, to be able to do those things. Now it's just getting the mental aspect of it to know, okay, I need to get the ball out right now instead of hitching another second, and now I'm throwing late and high and behind. Obviously having my feet ready so it could be more accurate. But I think even just when the game starts to slow down from the mental aspect of things, and he knows when to get the ball out of his hand to make those type of throws and what windows and when he has to move and when he doesn't. And some of the things that should be more routine start to become routine, and then him be able to do the special things off of that. That's when he'll start being the guy that makes the plays to win games. He's just not there yet, I don't think.
And he's not there yet simply because you and on your Monday quarterback show, you guys went over it. That was eye-opening in itself. Just the amount of times that he was in shotgun versus being under center, and that's what he's comfortable doing. And this offense that Kyle Shanahan technically is hit the Trey Lance offense isn't even the Trey Lance offense, bro. Like, that's another thing that's really frustrating. I'm not gonna rehash all that because you guys already, you guys pretty much beat that to death and went in depth into it. And I knew something was off when I was looking at it. I couldn't put my finger on it. And I was like, why does this look familiar? But it looks so trash. And then the Monday night game comes on. I'm like, that's why it looks familiar. They're trying to do what the Ravens do, but it's nothing like that. And it just looks. And then the way he ran him was like I was telling my pops during the game, like, bro, he's running him like Cam Newton, but he's not Cam Newton, but he's not as big as Cam Newton. And then I don't know, bro. It was wild to me, Croc, and I'm glad you kind of threw water on the conspiracy theory that, Kyle Shanahan this wasn't his guy and Mac was his dude and all these things. Because the way he's been coaching and the way he's talked about Trey Lance, I've tricked myself into thinking, man, did he really want Mac Jones? And he's kind of just like, all right, well, y'all want a running quarterback. I'm going to just slam him up the line 20 times. And, y'all got what you want. You know what I mean? And kind of just, it's like, do coaches do, is he that petty? And then I was like, nah, I listened to you the other day and I was like, nah, Croc's right, bro. There's no fucking way he has the Niners by the balls to the contract. He's not, if he wanted Mac Jones, he would have drafted Mac Jones. If he wanted Trey Lance, he's going to draft Trey Lance. Like this is his guy. This is his guy. So that conspiracy theory is done. He's just in a rut right now. He's just in a weird place. He's never been here before. That's just also it, bro. He's never had a QB controversy. He's never had, this is new to him right now. So he's just trying to figure it out. It's just looking bad. When it comes to personnel things, this is also something that's frustrating me with Kyle Shanahan right now. Is his personnel. I've never, and you know me, Croc, I'm consistent. This is going back to Dante Pettis. This is going back to I've never trusted his personnel choice and his development of even just receivers. You've
been consistent with that since like 2016, 2017. No, it started with him. So 2017, that's when I started receiving the messages from you about you not liking certain things with the receiving core and how Kyle was going about picking his receivers that he wanted.
Yeah, I just don't trust. He knows what, and this isn't because I don't think it has much to do with your shortcomings personally as a player, because you can be an ex-player and be an excellent coach and not have played that much, or you might not have played at all and be a great coach. So I'm not going to hold it against him that he didn't, he's pretty much like, what was he, walk on at Texas? He didn't really play. Like they showed this picture the other day when him and when they were Cliff Kingsbury was the quarterback at Texas Tech. And they played against each other in the when he was at UT. I don't know if you saw that during the broadcast.
No, I didn't see that.
They showed the side by side, and it was Kyle Shanahan wearing like this crazy number, looking crazy, like 87.
87, yeah.
He didn't play. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if he has like this like thing with like, and that was always my thing. Like, okay, maybe he doesn't like the alpha, like big receiver. Like he's never gonna go for the Julio type, like because he feels like he could just draft a dude, develop him, blah 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 blah. Because maybe he was looked over at Texas. I don't know if it's some weird thing that he has with like he wants his handpicked dudes because I don't know, bro. But I've never liked his personnel decisions. And then I look up on Sunday and Travis Benjamin is getting targets before Travis Benjamin's active. First of all, bro, like. Over Jawan Jennings, who's somebody who we talked about on Whiteout Wednesday, all the way through camp. I called that he would make the team. And not only did he make the team, he made an impact already. Like, and what's wild is the first pass Trey Lance throws, which ends up being picked. If that's Jawan Jennings, he catches that ball. Jawan Jennings is 6'3", 6'2", whatever. He's cating that ball. Whether it's
he's a legit 6'3", probably looks closer to 6'4".
Right. Even if he tips it away, like Buda Baker's not picking it. Like he's at least knocking it down. If he drops it, whatever the case may be. Travis Benjamin is like 5'11", whatever he is. You know what I mean? Like he jumped and still had no chance of me even making that catch. And if that's anybody else other than Travis Benjamin that's on the roster, that isn't a pick. So that's like Kyle. What like his personnel decisions make no. Oh, we wanted speed. What? You don't even throw the ball downfield or use the speed that you have. What are you talking about? Like his reasoning for some of his like. I can understand it if he had a actual reason or, I wanted to throw Travis Benjamin back to punt return, so I don't have my wide receiver 1 and 2 back there fucking punt return or Mohamed Sanu. Like, that is a great reason to have Travis Benjamin active. But he's not special teams either? Kyle, what are you talking about? Like, y'all, you got me turned right now on a Wednesday morning, Croc.
And that's what I wanted, because there are a lot of people that feel the same way that you do. And I think there are a lot of people in the chat that express the same, concerns with the personnel decisions and, what Kyle's doing and how he's doing it sometimes. And I hear like Middlecoff and those guys talk about it sometimes, but there's nobody to tell Kyle Shanahan no, right? A lot of these coaches like McVay, right? And maybe McVay has built up more equity. Maybe he's the guy now, but McVay coming in, he had no personnel control.
Right.
The GM was in charge of that. The GM gets some of his pieces and he goes with that. I'm pretty sure he has input, but he doesn't have the final say so. I think with Kyle and sometimes some of these coaches that have so much power, it's hard for them to balance everything with, and sometimes they can get in their own way. And that could at times, and that is not to say that Kyle hasn't picked any good players, right? Or receivers. But at times, maybe that's the reason that is something that can kind of get in his way a little bit.
Yeah.
Not going outside of what he's necessarily comfortable with.
I think personally, I mean, I get it. I'm sure it's different in the league, Croc, and maybe you could speak to this. I really wonder what personnel like what Wes Welker has to say, because in I would say in the junior college level, even college, even arena, I feel like the receiver coaches pretty much have control over who's going in on depending on what packages. Like I want, like with Coach Dub, it was at least at the JUCO level. When it was Coach Dub was a coach, he was like, "Oh no, if it's this, I want such and such. I want such and such. No, go in or get out." He just dropped the ball or he got tackled like when he shouldn't have got tackled by the first defender. That was his rule. If you got tackled by the first dude, you get out. Get out. First dude shouldn't tackle you. So and that was just him at the junior college level though. So I don't know what Wes Welker now at the junior college to the pros. That's a big jump. So I don't know what Wes Welker has control of and what he doesn't when it comes to personnel and depending on the packages. Because I can't just believe that Wes Welker's just sitting there, holding his thumb like, oh, okay, well, Kyle wants such and such, so I can't, you know what I mean? I have Aiyuk standing right next to me, but I can't say anything. Like he's the one who's with them. He's the one who's working with them one-on-ones. He's the one who's working with them in Skelly. He's the one, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I definitely think that I've heard Kyle Shanahan say before that in training camp, he doesn't know who's in sometimes. Like he calls his play. It actually happened one time with the running backs last year when Hasty caught a pass, right? And he was like, "Oh, I didn't even know Hasty was in the game." He was calling the play. So I do think maybe the position coaches are kind of a little more in charge of the rotation. So it could possibly be on Wes Welker when certain guys are in. Now, I don't know, because some things seem intentional.
Mm-hmm.
The play with Benjamin, that's a 2-man route,
Mm-hmm.
and he had an option. He can keep it going or he can hook it up. There was safety over top, so he hooked it up. Maybe they did have him in there to be the vertical guy that could potentially get behind the defense. So there is that. 1 second, real quick. We got a contribution from our guy Jamal. All right, I feel like Kyle has a great football mind, but though be a head coach, you have to have the ability. I think it meant to be too. But to be a head coach, you have to have the ability to wear different hats. He needs to be a better people person. He needs to be a better people person. He hasn't shown to be that good of a leader of men.
Yeah, 100%.
I do think that, and that's the biggest thing, right? When it comes to, and you could attest to this, like, and you did you have a workout with the Sounds Like Sabercats?
I was signed. Before you
Okay,
got,
you were signed.
I was there. I was with our bet and them. Coach Peace had brought me to the Sabercats.
Okay,
just off.
So
He what I used to do to Foothill. So
yeah, and I got coached up by Peace as well. My rookie year in the AFL, he was my defensive back coach. But I think, and some people they think that a head coach has to be a certain way, and I'm not saying that he's not a people person, but during our bet,
man,
he didn't come off as like.
I saw you what you were talking about this morning. Yeah, I've been listening, Croc. So I heard what you said. Like when you got signed, coming off your basically like what would have been your Pro Bowl season at with Portland, and you 11 picks, and they bring you in, and you got there, you felt like you was going to like kind of like the Patriots, and you felt like you had to just be on your, you never felt comfortable, and that was just based off of our bet, and I felt the same shit. Like he's
So I say that to say, because he's saying Kyle Shanahan here, and I think it's hard. There has to be a balance, right? Because although our bet wasn't this great, like players coach, I guess you could say, Coach Walker did a good job of communicating what our bet was looking for, right? And kind of what the standard was. So like, I might not have this great relationship with our bet, which I mean, we were cool, right? We were cordial, we're both from Stockton and all that. But he might not be somebody who I just go look to talk to, but Coach Walker did a great job of being that communicator and that kind of bridge between his players, the DBs, and the head coach. So I think with Kyle's going to be the head coach, and he has to be over these guys. And I think it's Wes Welker now, and he kind of gets, nobody talks about him in this whole thing with the receivers and everything, but Wes Welker has to be that bridge between the players and Kyle Shanahan to be able to, hey, this is what he's looking for. This is what he wants. So I think he has to get, I don't want to say some of the blame, but some of this, he's not completely innocent here.
And I would think Wes Welker, to be honest with you, Croc, and again, I don't know how much it balances out, but I would think Wes Welker would hold more weight simply because of how accomplished he is and what kind of offenses he's come from. And like, Kyle Shanahan, you've been the OC for a lot of places, and you know what you're talking about. You know your shit when it comes to scheming people and drawing up a great drawing up a great game plan and everything. But Wes Welker's executed these game plans at a very high level for a very long time, with some very accomplished individuals as well. So I would think he also knows what goes in the intricacies of actually executing said offense, because he's the one doing it. He's been the one, you know what I mean? He played and he did it. He actually did this shit. So I would think he has a lot more say. And to Kyle Shanahan's credit, he might give Wes Welker a lot more leeway than we know about, and he just doesn't. He chooses not to throw him under the bus when it comes to some of these personnel questions, and he might be keeping a lot of that buttoned up in house. Now, tell me something, Croc. I did tune in a little late, but I didn't hear that, because that was another play that like I was scratching my head on, was the use check play. How did it leak or whatever? How did it leak or whatever that play was? Because I'm upset. I mean, I'm happy to hear that wasn't really the call, but I'm not happy that it leaked, because it's like, damn, like if you really wanted to now run that again and really pitch it to Trey Lance or do some kind of, do a wrinkle off of that, now people can study up for it and be ready for it. So I'm kind of Like, how did that leak? And how did you get information about that play?
So first, Kyle said that there was something like basically they had a couple options on that play and they
Yeah.
chose the wrong one. So I think he wasn't trying to go into detail as to what it was that they were supposed to do, but he was just like they didn't do it right. That's what he was saying. Right?
Speculation that it was supposed to be Juszczyk was supposed to actually that Juszczyk went rogue and just went for the dive.
So I'm watching JT O'Sullivan's breakdown, and he called the play. And he was like, at first you could hear him kind of talking through, and he's like, I don't quite understand what they were doing here. You already showed this, and he's talking about it, and then he's like, what I would have liked to see, and he started drawing on the screen, like I would have liked to see, Trey Lance come this way, and maybe Kyle Juszczyk. He's like, I wonder if he could pitch it to him. And then he starts looking at it, and he's looking at the way it was kind of being blocked up, and he's like, wait a minute, okay. You see Trent Sherfield crack down, and you see Trent Williams pull, and you see Trey Lance start moving to the left to get a pitch, and it starts clicking. He's like, man, I think they were actually supposed to do that, and Juszczyk just went rogue and went and just did his own thing.
That's why haven't they ran the option actually with Juszczyk before? Was it last year?
No, they ran the option where it was kind of like a reverse. It was like a handoff to him, and then he pitched it to like Mostert. Yeah. They did run that, but obviously not from him being under center and handling the ball in that way. But if he would have got that off, that'd have been a huge play. Real quick, let's go over this. And Jamal, thank you for the contribution. Here we go. First, it was Trent Sherfield, then Benjamin over Aiyuk. Meanwhile, Aiyuk was out there making circus catches for Lance.
That's the other thing that's frustrating is the talent is undeniable. Whatever it is between Aiyuk, whatever it is, I've seen people say, oh, maybe he was, maybe Aiyuk was an issue. I think it was one of your calls right before I hopped on. Maybe he was an issue, last year, and he didn't have a choice but to play him, and he couldn't really. Now it's just manifesting itself because he has more of a healthy, deeper, so to speak, wide receiver group, and so now he can have him in the doghouse or be trying to show him that tough love that he did Deebo. You see how Deebo's reacted, like whatever. Right. That doesn't make sense when you see Aiyuk make plays the way he's making plays when he does have a chance to make plays, because he clearly his talent jumps off the board. Like Croc, we started this Whiteout Wednesday talking about how this was going to be his glow up year, bro. Like this was his coming out party. And like this has got to be as frustrating as for us. Like I gotta imagine, bro is getting less than half the target, I think he was getting double the targets he was getting this time last year. Yeah. And again, some of that was injury issues. And he was really the wide receiver one last year. But again, I've seen it said over and over and over. This is Kyle Shanahan. He can scheme open George Kittle to break the tight end receiving record with literally nobody in Nick Mullens, everybody knowing Kittle's going to get the ball, and Kittle could go crazy all season. He can scheme up Aiyuk. He can get anybody the ball he wants to. If he can't, then I don't know why you're paying him all this money. So right. At that, so I'm not buying any of it. I'm not buying the hammy you have him back there returning punts. Like, what are you talking about? And running clear outs against Detroit. Like, stop it.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is also the quarterback. I do understand chemistry with QBs. They feel comfortable with who they've been going with. They've been getting reps with. They're going to get the ball too. You know what I mean? So it's a perfect storm for Aiyuk not to get the ball right now. Like it really is, Croc.
Yeah. What do you think they have to do to get Trent Sherfield involved? Because we had who was it? Larry Fitzgerald came out and was like, y'all are seeing, because this was in preseason, and you're hearing about everything that he's doing in practice and all those things that you see him in training camp and what he's doing. And Larry's like, y'all are starting to see what we've been seeing. He just didn't have the opportunities in Arizona for whatever reason, but we've been knew he could do this.
Yeah.
But then the season starts and he's really been a non-factor. Maybe he has 2 catches.
Non-factor and back on special teams, which essentially it was the guy they thought they signed. He was just going to be a special teams demon. And
how does that happen though, bro? Like, how does that happen where you're so productive in training camp to where like they're feeding you the ball at every level, slants, go routes, down the sideline. You go into preseason, you're doing the same thing.
He's catching curls on third downs and shit during preseason.
You're doing, it's like building like everything, right? Like remember the toe tap on the sideline
against the Raiders.
You're seeing all the potential and ability, and him being able to affect the game at all levels. And then the season comes, and it's like, we're not even going to use you today. Like I could
He scored the
understand
first
if
touchdown this year. He scored the first touchdown this year.
right. If
Yeah.
Aiyuk say Aiyuk is going through whatever, and it's like, well, we're just gonna go to Trent Sherfield, and we're using Trent Sherfield, and he's balling, or at least, catching, at least doing what Kendrick Bourne did. But we're not even getting that. We're getting nothing from a guy who is so productive. That's weird as well.
And that, I think, again, that just speaks to personnel. Kyle Shanahan right now he's not in a rhythm, Croc. And that's what another thing I've noticed with play callers in general, like him, like those, the boy genius, him, the McVays, even Josh McDaniels to a certain extent. They have a rhythm. When they're in a good rhythm, everything's clicking. Everything they call is clicking. Everything works. The personnel groups, any guys coming in and out, everybody's touching the ball. When they're not in a rhythm, nothing is clicking, nothing is right. They're really only feeding one guy, so to speak. Like you're only seeing Deebo get the ball. You're not really seeing the ball spread around because they're not in a rhythm. That's what I think it's coming down to, and that's why I think, because basically Trent Sherfield, if you look, he's really only on the field when it's a run play. That's when I'm seeing him being used as a run blocker, crackbacks, and crashing down the line, but not really going on any routes, not really running routes, or not being really in on passing plays. So that's the main reason why he's not really being utilized to his best ability. It's frustrating. I think at this point he's feeling the pressure of, okay, I got to get Aiyuk going. But so then Aiyuk's in, and then the offense still isn't really clicking, so Aiyuk can't get going. So I can't really get Sherfield in if I can't get Aiyuk going. And it's just a big trickle-down effect right now. And it's affecting the entire offense. And not to mention his running back usage. Croc is terrible. Like like Elijah Mitchell only getting 9 carries. Fuck all that. Like that sucks in itself. But the fact that Trey Sermon only had 2 touches. He is your 3rd round choice. You moved up to get him. That's the other thing with Shanahan, bro. It's the guys he moves up to get the guys banging on the door. I gotta get him. I gotta get fucking Dante Pettis. Like, I've gotta go get these dudes. But then they're in my doghouse. I don't fucking like them anymore. What? They gotta do the right. They're just not there yet. What do you mean? Get him there, bro. It's your job. Like, you mean you're going to run Trey Lance, who now is injured, surprise, 16, 18 times, but you could slam Trey Sermon up there. You could, what are you talking about?
A guy and Trey Sermon, I mean, he's coming off of a game where he had, damn near 100 yards.
Yes.
So you go from that.
Your offense.
Yeah, you go from that to just 1 carry.
That's carry you got for 10 yards.
Right, here we go. One issue I noticed is Kyle never takes any accountability for our offensive struggles. Is that a lack of leadership?
100%. It's always, we missed the block. We didn't execute. It's always that, Croc. If you hear him, listen to him. It's always, we didn't execute, or we would have liked to do something. Like, you know what I mean? It's never, I put us in a bad situation. We shouldn't have been in that. That's it's never that, Croc. It's always, we didn't execute, or, guys got to be better here. But it's never on him, ever. And I don't know if you disagree or agree, or I know you've given him a lot of mulligans over the years, bro. So I don't know.
Well, I just put out a video saying he's running out of mulligans, and that was actually the title of it. So it's like, that's where I'm at now, where I'm not somebody that's like, Kyle got to go, or he's not good at this, or I'm not saying none of that. Like, dude, things do look weird, and I don't know why. Just the whole vibe around the 49ers, around the team, around Kyle Shanahan. And we talked about it on the podcast on Locked On 49ers. Make sure if you guys don't listen to Locked On 49ers with myself, Brian Peacock. Just put out the Winky Wednesday episode today. But, talking about on Locked On 49ers is like, he just doesn't look like he's having fun. Like, he doesn't look like he's – and I get it. Losing isn't fun, right? But he's not – like, there's no, bounce or, to his – there's no vibe. And it feels like – that's kind of, there's a trickle-down effect to the offense where there's just no rhythm and there's no identity. And maybe that's the issue. He's trying to find the identity. He has 2 different stylistic coach quarterbacks. He's trying to figure out the dynamics of that. We drafted this guy at number 3 overall. We want to play him, but he's not quite ready. So we got to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. But the offense still looks kind of weird with him. And I'm trying to figure out how to call this offense. Then I lose George Kittle. He's hurt. I don't know if he's just in a rut. And sometimes this happens. I think the issue when you're in this type of rut with him
Mhm.
He hasn't built up the equity like other coaches that have gone through this as well, right? We look at Andy Reid right now. The Chiefs are 2-3, and nobody's talking about it.
Mm.
Nobody cares because he's built up equity. He's built up enough equity to, all right, start 2-3. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
49ers, last time we were 2-3, we ended up winning 4 games, right? Last year, 49ers started off 2-1. Next thing you know, they were 2-3.
Mm.
All right. And that was one thing where I was talking about. A lot of people are putting so much stock into the first 2 wins. And it's like, I get it, but y'all don't see how these wins, it looks a little weird. And I came on here and I said it, like, that's not the standard, right? Like, what's the standard for the 49ers? I don't think the standard was to beat the Lions or the Eagles. No, the standard was to start off 2-0, win 2 road games. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But as far as how they played, I thought they played better versus the Lions than what the final score indicated.
Yeah,
but how they played against the Eagles, I'm like, looks a
too.
little weird. And then you go, and then it started to get kind of real with the schedule, and you start losing 3 straight. Here's a question here. I saw the film on 4th down. Juice went rogue. Trey was running left. You see Trent running left to block, and nothing happens. Yeah, and you see Trent Sherfield crack down. So yeah, he just went rogue, man. And I saw
no, just 4th and inches. I would have been cool with that on 4th and inches. Go rogue, because I know I have faith that Juszczyk could have got the 4th and inches. He's proven that he can, but it was 4th and a long one, which is why I was like, it was a long one.
And they were so thirsty to jump it. I think dude was even offsides. They didn't get called. His foot was all offsides. They didn't call it, but they knew what was coming, man. Thanks for the contribution. But man, I'm finna wrap this up, man. Any final takes you got?
I mean, we're headed into a bye. I would. This is obviously the turning point of the season. I think you would agree that coming out of this bye, we saw what the Colts looked like. The Colts are who we thought they were. We saw what they looked like on Monday night. I'm sure you watched a little bit of the game, or we'll go back and watch it. So coming out of this bye, they have to win. They have to beat Indy. And this will, this could be the turning point of the season, Croc. I think you're a glass half full kind of optimistic guy like myself. And you think, they're 2-2, but like I mentioned, they could easily be 5-0. Really,
2-3.
2-2. They're 2-2 now. They could be they're 2-2, bro.
2-3.
Oh, 2-3.
3 straight games.
Wow. Like, yeah.
So you got to win, right? You have a week to prepare for the Colts.
Yeah.
You got to buy. First, you got to figure out what the quarterback situation is, because it's like, well, sprained knee, which I don't think a sprained knee is. It's like, dude, that's it. Okay, got it banged up a little swelling or whatever. Put some ice on it. He'll be fine.
I'll be surprised if he's even on the injury report coming out of the bye. Yeah. Because he's going to get treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, he got treatment for this whole week. Like, he's going to be fine.
Right.
But got to figure out the quarterback thing. Are we going to go with Jimmy? We're going to go with Trey. I think if you go with Trey, you kind of got to stick with him for the rest of the year. As long as it looks good. And maybe maybe they are still trying to give themselves that wiggle room, right?
Yeah.
To not commit to either one of the guys. Maybe they do want to lean more towards Trey Lance, right? Like, because even with Jimmy Garoppolo right now, it's, nothing has changed. When he's healthy, he'll come back and be the starter. In the process, we still can continue to evaluate 100%. Trey Lance. So we'll see what happens. But man, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to end this thing. Everybody, make sure if you haven't already, hit that like button right now. Hit the subscribe button. All right, we'll be right back here tomorrow morning. All right, make sure you guys listen to Locked On 49ers, Locked On NFL Draft, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Y'all see it right there. Download the app, promo code Crocky, all that good stuff. I appreciate everybody for being in here, all the interaction. And we're out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.